Joining me today. As is obvious, Ms. Batista is not here with me today, so we're sorry about that, and we hope that she's feeling better soon. A week ago today, I issued an emergency order, and it's not that. I saw the look. No, it's not what you think. No. Let me quantify that. It's not what you think. A week ago today, I issued an emergency order requiring mask or face coverings in public and commercial spaces in the corporate limits of the city of Savannah. I extend my sincere thanks to those who are wearing the mask and to our local business partners that are requiring them. Thank you for making your health and the health of those around you a priority. I was out with Police Chief Roy Minter this weekend, walking around downtown and on River Street, offering free masks to those who were not wearing them. For us, this emergency order is not about punishment. For us, this is about compliance, and we want to make it easy for people to comply. We will not issue a citation without first giving someone the opportunity to comply. We still have free masks available here at City Hall to give away to City of Savannah residents who still need one. We will also continue to supply our police officers with masks, and we will continue to emphasize compliance, not punishment. We will also be adding visual reminders downtown to ensure that our visitors know that in Savannah, they are supposed to wear a mask. When in Rome, you do as the Romans do. When you're in Savannah, you wear a mask. We have been contacted on numerous occasions from citizens and employees about stores, restaurants, several big box stores that are not enforcing or consistently following this emergency order. Let's be very clear. If your business is in the city of Savannah, you must follow Savannah's rules, period. My emergency order will be updated to reflect our resolve and the penalties that will be associated with businesses not enforcing the order. I've also personally communicated with corporate offices and store managers, some that I've called directly to explain the requirements that we currently have in place in Savannah. We've also received many complaints regarding tour companies, trolleys, quadricycles, and walking tours. I personally observed a few operations this weekend properly operating within the emergency order, but I will tell you from my own observation, most were not. So I will also amend my emergency order to clear up any confusion about how tour companies should conduct themselves during this time and the penalties associated with not complying. There are limited exceptions when a mask is not required, like if you are only with other people who live in your house, or if you're seated at a restaurant or a bar. If you're swimming, running, or if you're at the gym, actively engaged in physical activity, a mask is not required. Masks are, however, required in common areas like entryways, lobbies, and locker rooms. If you will be within 6 feet of someone you do not live with, you will need to wear a mask. If there is a medical reason that you cannot wear a mask, then don't wear one. But then again, if there is a medical reason that you cannot wear a mask, it might be best that you limit your time outside anyway. You will also asked to wear the mask properly. Having a mask in your hand or your pocket or the pocketbook or your car or the baby bag does not and will not suffice. To be worn properly and limit exposure, you must wear your mask across your mouth and nose. This is a properly worn mask. Some of the things I've seen, that is not a properly worn mask. Try another one. This is not a properly worn mask. You've seen it. You've seen it. Again, for a very short time, it's fine, but I think as Chief mentioned, I walked around and asked people about their mask. They're like, oh, it's in my pocket. Oh, give me my mask. No, that's not it. You know, it's properly worn. Covering your nose, covering your mouth. This is how you limit exposure. Medical professionals at every level, federal, state, and local, all agree that wearing face coverings is critical for controlling the spread of COVID-19. It has never been said that wearing masks stop COVID-19, but we know that properly worn masks slow the spread of COVID-19. We need each of you to do what you can to slow down the spread and the rate of infections in our city. We anticipate having more than 2,000 total COVID-19 cases in Chatham County later today. Consider this, 2 weeks ago, we had less than 1,000. So in just 2 weeks, we've gone 1,000 cases. We are feeling these increased infections closer to home. As of today, we have 20 police officers and 4 firefighters who have been infected by this virus. Additionally, a week and a half ago, I was alerted of a COVID infection of a City of Savannah employee that I and members of the mayor's office regularly interact with. As a precautionary measure, 24 City Hall employees were tested, and at this point, 22 employees, including myself, have tested negative. So COVID-19 testing is extremely important. Consider that for the first 7 days in June, we have had 45 cases. The first 7 days in June. The first 7 days in July, we've had 636 cases. So for those who say that this virus is not spreading, I think the facts, the science speaks for itself. First 7 days in June, 45 cases. First 7 days in July, 636 cases. I'm sure the city manager can give me the exact percentage increase that is, but we know this a lot. So while COVID-19 testing is increasing, so are the percentage of positive tests and hospitalizations. We know that the more positive tests, the greater probability for hospitalizations. We know the greater probability for hospitalizations, the greater probability for death. So while most people infected with coronavirus do recover, the road to recovery and, more importantly, the long-term effects of the virus varies and is largely unknown. We don't know what the results will be from lungs that have been compromised from this respiratory virus. 2 weeks ago, we had 38 people in Chatham County hospitals with COVID-19. On Sunday, we have 85 people being treated. 10.5% of the COVID-19 tests are coming back positive compared to just 4% this time last month. The city has partnered with the Coastal Health District to offer free drive-through COVID testing at the Savannah Civic Center. And I want to thank the city manager, my deputy assistant Marty Johnston, and Team Savannah for helping to make that happen. The reality was the testing was occurring outside. It was very hot. It was very difficult for our volunteers to help to administer the test. And as you know, with the weather, it would just pour down rain like it might do today. So we're able to use the People Center to be able to help expedite and make this a more comfortable process. Drivers will enter from Oglethorpe Avenue and will line up at the Civic Center parking lot. Testing is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and alternating Saturdays from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. In July, Saturday testing is also available on the 18th. Thank you very much. No appointment is needed. The drive-through will close when the line reaches capacity. Walk-up testing is still available at the Curtis B. Cooper Primary Health Care Center at 106 East Broad Street here in Savannah. In city news, our search firm has collected 110 applications for city manager. The City Council will discuss the next steps during our executive session this week. We look forward to having as open and transparent a process as possible to engage this community as we move forward to fill the most important position in our bureaucracy. And as you know, I've been using Wednesdays to reveal some of the work of the mayor's office during this time of coronavirus. Last week, as many of you are familiar, we announced Savannah Cares. And tomorrow, I'm asking for you to join me as we announce another chair at Savannah's table. Our multifaceted, multicultural family continues to grow. And finally, we still need you to take the census. We still need people to be counted if you have not done so already. So far, we're creeping up. We're at 51.5% of our city being counted. An accurate count of those who live in our city makes sure that everyone has what they need to be successful and to thrive here. So we're asking you again, we're begging, we're pleading for you to go to my2020census.gov or call 844-330-2020. That's my2020census.gov or call 844-330-2020 to complete the census. It's fast and your information is secure. And by filling out the census, 10 minutes of your time will help to shape Savannah's future for the next 10 years. So that ends my prepared remarks, and I will entertain any questions you may have. And I guess it'll be Ms. Emma. Good morning.
I'm going first today. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. My first question for you is, I know over the weekend you and Chief Roy Major didn't give any citations for people not wearing masks. Is that because people were just complying and you were giving them a mask when they didn't have them on?
Well, I wasn't going to give any citations. Again, I think it's important for us to emphasize what this is really all about. People say that we're being punitive. No, we want people to wear a mask. I would prefer if not a single Savannah police officer issue a citation. If everybody wore a mask, we wouldn't have to do that at all. But most times, and the interesting part was that when they saw the police officer, you saw them reaching, looking around, and So again, this is not catch me if you can. This is really about having people comply with the emergency order. It follows the science. Certainly, you all with news agencies know, that is a singular term beyond social distancing. That people who have done it well, cities and states that have been able to bend the curve, so to speak, have been able to do it through mask and through social distancing. So the goal, I expect now, we gave people the benefit of the doubt. I'm expecting now that you'll start seeing citations being issued.
And do you know about how many masks you all gave out this weekend?
A bunch of them. I do not have the slightest idea. We'll see if we can find out, and we'll add that on to our press release.
Okay, and my last question for you is, a lot of businesses that have had an employee test positive for COVID-19, they've been shutting down for a few days, cleaning, letting guests know, and obviously and other employees. Is there any protocol that they have to follow if they have an employee test positive, or is that all individual choice?
Well, from what I understood at the time, and I hadn't talked with Dr. Davis about that specific subject in the last week or so, that the businesses that had closed because they chose to close. The concern for us is really what happens is that someone tests positive. All the employees know someone tested positive, but the employer doesn't tell you who tested positive, so people don't really know who they came in contact with. So then they go on social media, and then someone then contacts our office, and they're saying, well, we're scared. This business had at least 2 or 3 people test positive. We don't know what to do. And again, because we're not in the healthcare business, we then refer them back to the health department. And so that's why compliance is so important. We have employees of these businesses. We have customers of these businesses that are sending video, sending pictures, giving us names and addresses of businesses that are not complying. And so I've because I'm like that. I've walked in some of these businesses myself. I wanted to see. So I went to, people were complaining about Walmarts in particular, and I'll call a name. Most of the Walmarts in this community are not in the Savannah city limits. So for those of you who want to know, the Walmart on Highway 17 is not in the Savannah city limits. The one on Wilmington Island is not in the Savannah city limits. The one on Pula Parkway is not in the Savannah city limits. We do have the one on Abercorn Street across from Savannah Mall, and we have a Walmart Market that's a little further north. And so I got some, so I walked over to the Walmart on Abercorn, I believe on Friday. Friday or Saturday, I think it was Friday. And walked in myself, and actually I saw they had a big sign, there was someone standing at the door, they would not let you in unless you had on a mask. That's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we wanted to be able to see. So me being me, I took my mask and I dropped my mask, and the lady said, sir, you need to put your mask on. Okay. I wanted to see. Again, for us, it's about compliance. And so we will hold businesses responsible that won't do that. And I'm telling our citizens that you have the ability to make the ultimate economic choice. That if a business does not care enough about you to enforce this emergency order that protects you, then you should not go in that business. And I mean, that's my bottom line. If a business is not going to comply, I'm sorry, but they won't get a dime of my limited money. Period.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Have you decided yet what those penalties will be for businesses that don't comply in the city?
Well, being that the penalties for individuals are up to $500, I suspect businesses will be significant. Again, if you comply, you have no problem. So we'll be further discussing that with Team Savannah to figure out what that's going to be. But it's not fair to hold individuals responsible and not hold businesses responsible. And over the weekend, when I saw that businesses were being very laissez-faire about it, we need to help gain their compliance.
And just to clarify on your earlier statement, for the city of Savannah employee that tested positive, you said 22 other employees tested negative, including Michelle. The other two, are they still waiting for test results, or have they tested positive as well?
They tested positive. They tested positive. And again, as a part of our protocol with that, they've been quarantined, and we wish them well, and we prayed for their recovery, and we've cleaned workspaces just as a precaution.
What was your reaction to the mayor of Atlanta also testing positive for the virus?
Oh, I was disturbed. I consider her a friend. She's been a great colleague of mine since I've entered this journey. And so for her, who has been really on the forefront of keeping the citizens of Georgia and Atlanta safe, for all that she's endured, the stress that has gone as she's put herself on Front Street as it relates to not only coronavirus and protest demonstrations, as it relates to even recently the violence that has occurred in Atlanta over the weekend. I think we seem to forget sometimes that public officials are also people. Mayor Bottoms is a wife, and she's a mother, first and foremost. And so for someone like her who has given so much of herself, and then to be stricken with this, and asymptomatic, because then, again, proof positive that how important it is for us to make sure that we're tested, make sure that we're practicing social distancing. So we pray for recovery, and we trust she's going to do well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm well, sir.
So I know our mask ordinance here is kind of indefinite, whereas some neighboring areas, they have a 30-day mask ordinance or a 60-day. Is there a reason ours is open-ended rather than having a time frame on it?
Sure, because we've said that we would follow the science. And so once we have arrested the spread of COVID, once our numbers start going in a reverse order, It might be sooner than 30 days. I would be more than willing to lift the order. Again, I don't want to say 60 days and then our numbers change in 30 days, but yet because the order is 60 days, we're stuck to the 60 days. So again, I think this is perfectly consistent with what we've been saying, that we're going to follow the science. Again, as our numbers start to change, then we'll act appropriately. Dave, you want? Sean will be last. It's okay.
Sean, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Mayor, just have a question for clarity. You mentioned earlier in your statements that trolleys and walking tours might be added as an amendment to your emergency hazmat.
Yes.
Can you explain how that'll work and what the language might be there?
Again, we're talking about it. What I did see was a variety of tours. Quadricycle, everybody's on there having a great time. They're screaming to the top of their lungs, and no one's wearing masks. So, if you're on a quadricycle and you're within a certain distance and you're yelling, it doesn't really seem like the safest scenario. And again, I saw some trolleys that I did get on a trolley in which everyone was wearing a mask, and I applauded them for doing that. There were many that we saw that were not. And again, so since trolley companies have said to our office that they need clarity, we'll help provide them the clarity that they need. Again, the social distancing is important, but on the other end of it, the mask side is important as well.
Will that extend to any other businesses or industries that you're anticipating right now?
It could. It could. We'll see how it goes when we further discuss this. But I know from what I witnessed that we needed to be able to have, to extend it. I did not think at the time that we would have had those issues, but when Chief Minter and I observed them, it became very clear that we need to do something to help them along, help their understanding of the issue.
And you mentioned also the city manager search and the results that we've gotten from that, the applications that have come in. What does a city manager search look like at a time of COVID-19? When you can't have someone necessarily traveling, or can you? Do you have that face-to-face? And I'm assuming that's what you want, right?
Well, I think, again, the city is faced with really a daunting task. Again, we're blessed and fortunate to have Mr. Monahan here. Mr. Monahan has also let us know his time is limited. To that end, we have to progress with the search. So I anticipate that of the 116, we've hired a firm to vet those initially. They'll provide the council with a particular number. The council will then look at that particular number, break that down into a number that we would like to interview. I suspect that the initial interviews would probably be through some media platform, and we will proceed in that manner. I think that's absolutely prudent, and again, it's not unusual to be able to have distance interviews through technology. Once we have settled on a finalist or finalist, I think it's necessary then to invite the individuals to this community, for them to meet individuals in this community, and so that's where it becomes kind of tricky. I do think we have enough spaces where we can do it in a socially distant manner for the council to have the proper opportunity to examine the candidates and then to provide community partners to be able to do the same. Again, we just have to do it within the science, but I think it's important for us not to take advantage of Mr. Monahan's generosity and grace towards us and be able to at least keep moving. So if we're able to get to a point where we have 3 finalists or have 8 finalists, I think we've created a situation at least where Mr. Monahan sees we're making good progress and he'll bear with us a little while longer.
Forgive me if you already covered this, but the city policy with regards to city employees, whether it be public safety or here at City Hall, what is the the guidelines, the protocol as far as them quarantining after being exposed, waiting on a test, how quickly do those tests come back, if you can get it?
Sure. When someone, well, first of all, we ask our employees, if you don't feel well, don't come in. So I think that's the first thing. I think, and then for those that are asymptomatic and they test positive, to notify the supervisor immediately. And we want them to stay home until they have to have a negative result. And at that point, a decision is made about them coming back into the workplace.
Are those expedited? And like they are for first responders, there's a health field here at City Hall?
Yes.
Expedited?
Yes. And in the case of the City Hall, we did have some of them expedited just because of the nature of the work of the individuals that were involved.
Okay.
And I will tell you, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to do all I can to wear a mask and social distance because I don't want to test again in my life. For those who had that test, I felt my eyeball was touched. It was just an interesting experience. So that I can avoid that, I'm not going to see myself. I'm staying away from everybody as best I can because it was interesting. I'll just leave it at that. So the screaming that I did in City Hall, I'm protected by HIPAA and nobody better say anything about it or there'll be some problems with it. It was not pleasant. Hey Dave, how you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Good.
I've got one question. Obviously, Savannah is a big tourist destination. A lot of tourists are coming in town. Are the hotels, how are they helping out as far as getting the word to those tourists about the mask ordinance in place?
Good. Thank you. I meant to mention that. Most of our hotels have been outstanding partners in doing this. They understand it as well. They don't want to have infections within their place of business. The city is willing to provide a supply of masks to any business in the city that wants them, particularly to help them get some lead time before that they have to purchase them. They can just contact our office and we'll help make that happen. So they've been good partners. Over that overall. Again, most businesses get it, particularly our larger hotels. In other cities, they're under mask ordinances already, so their corporate offices already have guidance as it relates to it. Again, for us, this is brand new ground. And to be honest with you, we are making it up as we go along. We are looking at the science and then following the recommendations. Savannah is the first city in Georgia to implement this. And again, we were fortunate in that this coincided with the governor's insistence of Georgians wearing masks and his citywide tour as it relates to his statewide tour regarding wearing masks. And again, everyone is saying the same thing. On the national level, on the state level, on the local level, masks work. And and then someone sent me this message the other day talking about how dare I infringe on their freedom. And I thought it was an interesting enough question, but I think that masks actually provide us more freedom. It provides us more opportunity because if businesses are closed, you don't have the freedom to go into them. You're able to move and traverse around our city unfettered. If you're only wearing a mask. And again, wearing a mask says that I care enough about my fellow citizens, about our visitors, to protect them from anything I might be carrying. And again, there are enough interesting scenarios out there where people have been infected where they are not or have not had any symptoms. This weekend has been a wild weekend. We had a lot of people in our city. We welcomed in our city. We had beautiful weather. Again, we won't know the results of this for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And so again, I hope that we are better because we wore masks than because we did not wear masks.
A quick question for you, Mr. Mayor. We talked a lot about businesses that aren't compliant, but there are a lot of businesses that I have gone to that on their door they say no mask no service, kind of like what you were talking about last week.
I love them.
And yeah, so basically my question for you is what would you like to say to those businesses that are saying no masks, no service.
Well, thank you. Well, and I've walked in some of these businesses myself, and I thanked them. I thanked them. They may not have known I was the mayor at that time, but I thanked them because the only way this works is if we all do it together. This is the only way. And I think businesses recognize for their own viability. We look across the country and look at exploding rates in Texas and California. We look at now reopenings being phased back, dialed back, things being closed. Over the last week, we saw beaches closed in Florida. You know, the way that Savannah strives and survives this, and then ultimately thrives in this, is that we need every single person doing what they can do. We need every single business doing what they can do. And again, if we're all wearing masks and face coverings, if every business is demanding that people wear them, if our law enforcement is helping to provide people masks and help them be compliant, this is how we catch up with COVID-19. This is how we overtake COVID-19. This is how we beat COVID-19. So thank you to all the businesses that are doing it. Again, we often focus on those that are not complying, but those who are, big ups, thank you so much.
I have a question for a viewer. I understand it may not be a priority right now, but is there a plan to reopen the visitor center on River Street anytime soon?
It's open.
Is it?
I believe it's open, right? It's open. See?
Well,
See? See? Already open. I think we'll have to continue, though, to evaluate in our new reality the services that the city provides. Again, you know, we were getting ready to move to phase 2, and you know, we were at 6. We were trying to get to 6, and we were almost there, and now we're way, way more than that. So, again, this is a time that none of us expected to be in, none of us wanted to be in, you know, but yet we find ourselves here. Again, I remain very grateful, very inspired by this condition that I have deemed Savannah strong, and this condition that I deemed as Savannah love. And I see our city being resilient, doing resilient things. You know, I see people that are on social media that don't even live here telling me what they're not going to do. Well, I mean, you stay where you are. You know, matter of fact, we probably want you to keep your germs and your virus where you live. You know, don't come here. You know, and well, we're not coming here. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. But you know, people are getting it. That you know, all we want to do is protect our city. All we want to do is get to the other side of COVID. That's it. And I'm confident that there will be a day that we will talk about COVID in the past tense. And that is why Team Savannah is working so hard, your council is working so hard to make sure that we get to that day when we sit around and we're all laughing and talking. Do y'all remember COVID-19 when we had to do this, and this? They did it in 1918, we're gonna do it in 2020. You have a question?
That's my last question.
Oh, I mean, you're holding the mic like you wanted to sing.
No, I was looking for someone to ask.
Oh,
One more quick one, please.
yes, sir.
Special event permits, and anyone wanting to have a gathering in the city limits of squares, whether it be a wedding, a music event, where are we on that, the status of issuing those permits?
We're not doing them. No. Pardon? That's phase, thank you. That's phase 3, and we're at phase 1. And I got this, I'll provide this clarification because someone did ask. And again, we're trying our best to work with people. You know, folks here that, you know, choose Savannah, they choose Savannah for that special day. They came here to get married. You know, you don't have to take pictures with your mask on. I think we'll understand. I think the chief will allow the officers to exercise some judgment that if you're in a photo shoot and you need to take the mask on long enough to take a picture of your special day, you know, go ahead and do it. Then take the picture, put the mask back on. On the other end of it, it might be helpful to help take a picture with the mask to remind your folks that you got married in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, which is actually pretty cool too. So, you know, again, this is the times in which we live.
Thank you.
Anything? Well, again, I thank Team Savannah. I thank all of you for continuing to come out and indulge us. I appreciate our citizens for allowing us to break their regularly scheduled programming of their favorite 10 o'clock shows. Yes, I get that. For us to give information about their city. We recognize that we want to be healthy enough to enjoy their regularly scheduled shows. And I'm looking forward to the day when I'm not doing these as often. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Again, an exciting day in Savannah as we add another seat to Savannah's great table. We are Savannah Strong because we show Savannah love. God bless. Thank you so much.